Hey guys, it's Jovi and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I hope you are all having a great day. Great Thursday. I know I am. Oh, so listen, we got a comment in the chat on the Monique video. And I thought, y'all know I am not a big what's the word? I'm not a big necessarily a fan of, crazy panels sometimes. But I decided that I wanted to have a panel today. Hope y'all all having a great day. I wanted to have a panel today to really, I guess, dive deep into the realities of motherhood for some people. Okay. Before we begin, again, I put the link in the description in case anybody wants to get up, be involved in this conversation. Okay, but I really wanted to have a conversation on the reality of people's lives, specifically mothers, but I decided to just open it up to parents in general because, whatever. But I wanted to have a talk about it, especially after the effects of this whole Monique situation. We see a lot of people, I personally seen a lot of people um playing out their own trauma in this situation. Let me say that. I see a lot of people playing out their own trauma in this situation. And I wanted to speak from, we see a lot of kids, people, not kids, adults who are still dealing with whatever traumatic situation and have not dealt with said traumatic situation. And I wanted to just come here and address that. I want to first say, because I saw a couple of comments about this. So let me be clear. I personally, okay, I'm gonna get into my whole motherhood situation during the video, but I don't regret my kid. I love my kid. When I was speaking regarding, and I think I dropped hints a little bit in the Monique video. If you caught him, you caught him. If you didn't, you didn't. I was speaking from the aspect of someone who has been through the situation, not as the mother, but as a child who, for whatever reason had issue. Hold on. Let me who had issues for whatever reason with a parent here or there and had to work that shit out, deal with therapy. Me unbeing able, I came from a point of me being able to understand how traumatic it could be, sometimes on a child. And me saying, from my opinion, how at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, we are accountable for our shit. Whether your parent is willing, in my opinion, again, this is just an interlude before I drop the intro and start the video. Regardless of whatever, if whether your parent is or is not willing to acknowledge some things, whatever occurred, whatever that thing or those things may be, I don't know, maybe they put you out early, maybe they put you, they didn't want to deal with your sexuality, maybe they weren't there for you, maybe they weren't emotionally available, whatever the situation is. By the time you get to be an adult, you have to work through your own shit, right? Or else you will inevitably, what's the word? I'm not going to say take it out on your child, but you will, there's a reason why it's called generational trauma. And you need to be able, and why I thoroughly believe you need to be able to work on it, not only just for your kids, but for your own self and your own mental health, right? If you have all these problems, in my opinion, with your mother, with your father, with whoever, it's going to represent itself if you don't work that shit out on your life and the people in your life. You attract what you think you deserve. And if you have not dealt with those issues, like I feel like Monique's son has not dealt with those issues, you are going to perpetrate those situations into your life, consciously or subconsciously. Now, I have dropped the link in the description in case anybody want to come up. Like I said, you do not have, if you choose to stay anonymous, I'm fine with that. You do not have to turn on your video. You can use a different name. I don't really care. You know, I just want people, especially us women, to be just real in dealing with the reality of being humans, the real reality of being mothers, and even sometimes fathers, right? The reality of dealing with with just the humanity of people. So y'all already know the vibes. I'm gonna drop the intro in a second, but before we even get into everything else, please don't forget to like this video. Like it now, because you're gonna forget to like it later, or you can dislike it. I don't really know. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on my other social media platforms. I'm Jovi Beauty. I'm Jovi Beauty on all platforms. Please follow. Please subscribe. And now I'm going to drop the link. I dropped the link already in case you want to come up. And I'm going to drop the intro, and then we're going to get on with the rest of today's show. Okay, guys, I had to put on some chapstick. So as we wait for anybody who wants to come up to tell us their experiences, I'm going to, I guess, start with mine, right? Like I said in the intro, you know, when I've had issues like anybody else, okay, especially anybody else who have boomer parents, right? And being the firstborn, dealing with the responsibilities of it all, right? I've told y'all numerous times, you know, how I would damn near took on a mother role in my house, and I was very resentful for it, right? I had other situations in my life with my parents, and I don't want to get too much into specifics, that I had to learn to deal with, especially as I got older, right? Understanding that, you know, certain things played out, or certain feelings that I had were attached to how I was raised and the relationship between said parent, whoever it is, mother, father, I don't know, child, I'm not getting too specific. So again, I've had these conversations with my parents. I've had conversations numerous times with my parents. And you know, I was able to, there's been a lot of conversations where he, she, they, whatever, were able to acknowledge some shit, you know, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing, you know, just to be able to have that trauma or whatever acknowledged, right? Have them being able to acknowledge that this shit happened to you and your feelings because of this. I've also had situations where I've been treated like those things didn't happen, right? Or whatever or something that I said, you know, oh, that wasn't that, or whatever the case is. And I spent a lot of time, I ain't gonna hold you, especially when I was in high school, angry as shit, right? Angry as shit because of my feelings and my emotions and not being able to deal with these things, right? But I had to learn. And it brings so much peace into your life, you know? Well, hopefully, you know, to be able to say, you know, regardless of acknowledgement or not on certain aspects, I have to be able to be good so I can be good. So I can be good for myself, so I don't have these traumatic responses and create chaos in my own life because I'm not willing or being able to deal with some shit or just let some shit go, because at the end of the day, It's my life. At the end of the day, I could spend 10, 15, 20 years being upset about something that you just can't control. You cannot control, and I guess in life, I deal with a lot of people and situations just better in general, because I've come to that understanding, one, in noticing or recognizing the humanity in people. And I keep saying that, right? I keep saying that they like the humanity in your parents, the understanding that your parents were young, understanding that when this shit happened or whatever, they were still in their early 30s or whatever. They might not, or whatever the situation is, right? And just like people, we want our parents, our fathers, to be these perfect examples, right? And our mothers to be these, again, perfect examples. But like, they're human and they make mistakes and they do, things, and maybe because again, boomer generations, I don't know, don't acknowledge, or just can't, or just not able to see it the way you see things, right? There's a reason why they say it's your side, this side of the truth. My perception of things might have been different from their perception of things, but at the end of the day, my life is my life. What's a good word for it? My life, how I'm able to deal with those things, how I'm able to grow and I want to say empathize. With certain situations, right? I'll give you a good example. Like I said, growing up, I was the firstborn child, right? I was firstborn. I had a lot of responsibilities. I'm Panamanian too, so that's another thing. A lot of responsibilities. I'll use my mama for example, because she'll be all right with me using her a little bit for an example. My mom did not have a mother. Okay. Does that make sense to you? My mom did not have a mother. My mother was raised by her grandmother and aunts and whatever, and her dad. She did not have, or fully, she has grown to, she did not fully, especially being her first child, she did not know how to do certain things that I expected or needed at that time in my life, right? Because no one was there to do it for her, right? And when I was young, I could not comprehend that, right? I didn't know that, right? I did not know that. I really didn't comprehend that. Well, I knew that, but I did not. Again, when you're a child, you don't understand certain things. You don't understand you don't understand what's going on completely, right? But with age and maturity and growth, I was able to understand. And we spoke about this. She's apologized, and I comprehend that she could have only done what she knew. That's why even when I was speaking about Monique, you have to deal with people for who they are and them on their own levels. Like you can't. It's one thing if they were able to, and they couldn't, right? Is you have to be able to acknowledge that, and it's not a you thing. That's what it is. It's not a you thing. It wasn't my fault, right? Shit, it wasn't my fault. I had to come to terms and understand that, and be able to say, you know what, she did the best that she could do under the circumstances, and we were a learn as we go situation, because she didn't have that example. You can't knock her for not having that example, right? Like I had to learn to understand that. That's why I feel the way I feel about the whole conversation with like Monique and her son. When someone has acknowledged this shit, like what else do you want? Because a lot of people can't even acknowledge their shit. So when somebody's able to say, you know what, you're right, I should have been able to do this. I should have did this. I was young, didn't know no better, and I did not have a fucking example. I didn't have anybody to show me, even when I was young, how that shit is supposed to be. Okay, hold on. So I saw somebody was up there. So if they want to come back, you could come back. Like I did get 2 comments from people and they were like concerned about coming up. Like I said, if you don't want to put your name, that is fine. It's a hard topic because people love to judge, especially mothers, right? Men can just go and they don't have to deal with it. And the burden of everything is on the mother. Like we've had this, like I've said it even in my video, like where was this boy's father and why is all the smoke addressed to Monique? And I recently saw he posted a new video after he said he wasn't going to do it anymore. And I just can't get past what the fuck. Okay. I'm going to give you another example. Again, I'm going to talk until people want to decide they want to come up. I'm going to give you another example. I never in my life, ever since I was a child, well, y'all know I'm Panamanian. We don't believe in children out of wedlock. We don't believe none of that shit. I never thought I would have a child and then get divorced. Never in my motherfucking life, did I think that would happen. It was a doozy. It was a doozy for me because that was not the plan that I had for my life. And okay, Bree. 1 second, Bree. That was not the plan that I had for my life. But thank God I was able to have a support system, especially when I was going through a lot. Y'all know I love my baby. I don't regret or resent my child because I always wanted to be a mother at the end of the day. So I'm happy. And I was still able to learn the bits and pieces from my mother and other women around me on how to properly do this. Maybe that's why I kind of overcompensate and I'm very much focused on making sure my daughter has every opportunity. She kind of spoiled, I ain't even gonna hold you, has every opportunity that I couldn't have, has me being there. I can be a little overbearing, as in, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's hug. I can be that girl because I didn't feel like I had that when I was younger, and I wish that I could have. So I was able to say, you know what, I didn't necessarily have that, so I'll make sure my boo have it. I'm gonna put up Bree right now. Hey, Bree.
Hey, Jovi, I'm gonna be really fast, but I
Okay.
love this conversation that you're having because it needs to be had from someone who actually has children. I think it's respected more. You are a mother, you were a wife, and you can see it. From my lens point, I've always been told since I was in my teens, like, girl, don't have no baby. That baby is going to F your life up. And I used to just laugh because I didn't understand. And it wasn't until my friends who have children, whether they're married or not, and their children are teenagers, they're like, see, they're like, girl, just wait, just wait. You're living your life. I can't do X, Y, and Z. And she said, and children can be so ungrateful. And that's what makes me empathize with men and women, because I've said the same thing about Steve Harvey. When you have children with people you thought you loved and you find out you really didn't like them, the
Yeah.
dynamics are different.
Yeah.
He said his other siblings have a beautiful relationship with his mother, and that's because she likes the man she had children with. And I think that plays a part. I
Yeah.
get it. Monique is the adult, but he is too. He has a daughter. I
Yeah.
don't think he's thinking about his child at all. And I said it before and I'll say it again. What do you want a mother who said, I'm sorry, to do? And you're saying the sorry's not good enough. Should they just stop with their life? I don't know. And that's been my ultimate fear and why I've been hesitant about even, oh, I want to have a child, because the way we're grinding, the way we're getting to the bag, I would hate for my child to come to the internet and say, because Tori Bay was a horrible mother.
Yeah.
And I thought in my mind I was doing everything in my power to be an excellent mother. So that's always been my fear as a woman in my 30s. I applaud women who've sacrificed their careers, because people don't understand, when the opportunity presents itself, you only get one shot sometimes. And when you make that
Yeah.
shot, it can be detrimental. I made a joke about it on my platform. We look at Beyonce as an amazing mother, this regal woman, an icon, but her kids could be like, she's trash. And it's crazy. It's like it's never enough. It's never enough money, never enough time. So I always extend that grace to people like them, whether it's a man or a woman. The only person who I said was trash was DL Hughley, because he laughed at his baby mother's pain. So that, it is what it is. But y'all get these likes up. Hitting the panel will be excellent. We would love to hear y'all voices. Y'all been asking for it. Jovi is delivering. So share this live, send a donation, hit the endorsement deals, and I'm dropping back down in the chat.
So Bria is correct. Let me tell you, I told y'all know I didn't even get pregnant until I was like 4 or 5 years into my marriage. But listen, you know what made one of the reasons that I'm very adamant. Hold on, Nani, 1 second. One of the reasons that I'm extremely adamant about keep telling younger ladies to like not have babies, right? Like really try to set yourself up, like Bree said, is I had a lot of friends. I had a couple friends, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. And if y'all watching, don't you turn this shit off, okay? Hold on. Okay, sorry, y'all. Man. I've had friends, especially when I was young. Nadia, I still remember you there. 1 second. That I had one friend. I'm gonna give you two examples, and I'm gonna pull Nadia up. I had one friend who had a child when she was like 15, 16, and like we used to hang out. We were like 19, 20, and like she couldn't go out. I saw the resentment. The father wasn't really involved. He was there, but he wasn't doing much of shit. And like I saw how much she really did not want to have her child. She loved her child, but she did not want to have her child. She ended up even in an abusive situation, which was crazy. The guy was abusing her and the child, because the desperation, it was like she was so desperate for freaking any fucking thing, love, I don't know what the fuck, that she would even it got to the point where she allowed this man to not only abuse her, to abuse her freaking child. I will never forget that. That shit happened when we were like 19. I think I remember one time her dad died, and we were just sitting in her grandmama living room, and the look on her face when she was looking at her son made me second thought, made me, you know, realized that, I was not having no baby anytime soon. I needed to live all of my life before I did that, because resentment is real. And it doesn't mean you don't love your kid, because she loved her son. I can tell you that. But if she didn't want her son. Anyway, I'm going to pull up Nadi, and I'm going to add Xander as well. Hello, hello.
Hey, girl. Hey.
How are you?
I'm great.
I don't know where to begin. Okay, this is a great topic. Thank you so much for having me, Jovi. Hit that like button, share, and donate. Okay, so I was a mom at 17. And it was for a number of reasons that I ended up in that place, But my mom was like the oldest of 6, very religious family. They didn't really talk about things. So I was the type of kid that went out and explored on my own, and I found out the hard way,
Okay.
And so, my oldest daughter, I had to grow up with her. basically. You know what I mean? And one of the things I had to do as a mom is take accountability where I lacked for her in being emotionally supportive, right? Because I was still immature.
Yeah.
And I had to sit in that. But it wasn't until my 30s where I was really ready to face like all my decision making and things like that, and really like sit down with the therapist and comb through the layers. And like, although I felt like my mom didn't give me all the tools that I need, like in talking to me and stuff like that, at the end of the day, my choices were my choices. You understand? And I had to own that and walk through that. But I was an angry bird in my teenage years, my 20s, because I lost my biological father at 16. Then boom, I'm pregnant. Like life rushed me. And
Yeah.
I could go through the years and say, oh, it was my mom's fault. She didn't teach this, that. Nope, nope. It was all my own. And I was out of control, driving my mother crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to take accountability for that. But this newer generation of children, they just a different breed. They don't like to. They know so much that they think they gotta parent the parent, and some parents do gotta be parented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the importance of waiting, you know what I mean? Because I had to sacrifice so much because I decided to be a mother
Yeah.
so young. But I had that resentment against my mom. But when I got in my 30s, I was able to sit down with her and, talk it out with her. And she acknowledged my feelings, and I was able to forgive her and move on. But through using therapy and the tools that therapy gave me, I realized that my mother only did the best she could. And I had to really like look at my pathology and my grandparents, and I come from a
Mhm.
family of
Yeah.
marriage. My grandparents were married for 65 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I come from solid ground or whatever, but I had to understand that where my mother came from and what she grew up with. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I had to go through my own struggles in motherhood that I really understand what she went through with me as a teenager. But you got to be accountable for your own actions, your own behavior. And ultimately, that's what I learned when I went to therapy. Like, I made these choices. I made these choices. And I got to be, and then once I started to sit in that, that's when I was able to grow as a woman. That's when I
Yeah.
started making better decisions. But I appreciate you having this topic. But Monique, I still feel like, ugh, I don't know. She just very dismissive. But I'm really proud of her son and how articulate he is, because he still has not disrespected her. It's just that she went on many, many platforms and he felt like he needed to give his side. And I understand that too. You understand? And I just hope they take it offline, and I pray for them. Seriously. Like, I hope they take it offline and they get some type of healing, because this is not for the world to chime in on. This is for the two of them to
It's not.
work out one on one.
Okay. Well, Nada, you can stay around. Xander. Hey, Xander. Unmute. He's muted. I don't know if he knows he's muted.
But it's a good topic, and I
It's
love
all
that you
right.
brought out
Okay.
like the generational, like, until you know someone's pathology and where they came from, you can't have any type of understanding of where you're from.
Yeah. And you can't take out your own personal, my opinion, from what I've been seeing, a lot of the videos that I've been seeing, it's like people are taking their own personal experience with their parents out in this situation.
Yeah.
Okay, Xander's back. Hold on.
All
Hey,
right,
But a lot of us
Xander.
got
what's
like
going
parents
on?
that ain't ish. You know what I'm saying? A lot of parents ain't ish.
A lot of
But
parents ain't ish. It is what it is.
it, at some
How
point you
y'all
gotta
doing?
move on for that, or you gonna let that
Hey,
define your
Xander.
life.
Hold on, Nadi. Let Xander get in his thought. How are
Oh,
you?
good, good. I'm doing good. Second live I caught. That's amazing. First, I want to say, I'm gonna preface this by saying, I think I'm gonna take an opinion of a side that y'all not gonna agree on. I
Go right ahead.
disagree with the thought process that Monique was just like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. Once you have a child, you gotta reformat your life. you gotta do everything that you need to do. I feel like I wrote a list down because I wanted to remain logical. Because I feel like
Okay.
sometimes, like when you attach yourself to a problem or you see an issue, sometimes you can attach emotion or something and logic will escape.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if Monique, I feel like sometimes parents parent according to who their biological father or their biological mother is. So how much parents like the mother and how much they like the father is
Very
all
true.
dependent on how they're gonna treat that child. I don't know what it is with Monique and that son father, but I feel like if I feel like it, Monique obviously has love for Sydney, who she calls her daddy. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a disconnect that she has with that father, and because she has that disconnect, she has basically allowed that to poison her relationship and her behavior and her dynamic with her son, which
Mm-hmm.
was completely disrespectful. I'm sorry, you gotta know exactly what you got going on. You gotta communicate with your child how you feel. I feel like at one particular point Monique was extremely dismissive. And yes, she might have said, "Oh yeah, I acknowledge that." That's not enough. Because you gotta think when you're building a whole
So what is
no,
enough? So what is she supposed?
okay, okay,
Because I've been asking people this.
okay.
What
The
is
same
expected?
amount, this to me, the same amount of time you spent destroying somebody is the same amount of time you guys spent building somebody. That's almost like in marriages, right? You know how sometimes in people marriages, like you may marry the wrong person, right? Or you may marry somebody
Mm-hmm.
broken, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that person, sometimes people get divorced in their 50s and their 60s and they're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I loved you. And then that person say, no, when I first met you, I was vulnerable. I didn't know nothing. I didn't, they're expressing that they didn't know themselves. They had come from a hostile environment and everything. And it wasn't until 20 and 30 years, the same
Mm-hmm.
age they were when they got married,
Mm-hmm.
that it was, you know what I'm saying? So it was because life allowed them to grow up again. We go through different chapters of life. So sometimes you gotta almost share you there's been versions of yourself that you probably were that you not no more. Because life
Mm-hmm.
allowed you to grow up. You don't just become 18 years old and be like, okay, that's not it.
Yeah.
No, you go through multiple growing up. You go through, I wouldn't have gotten along. Me right now, I wouldn't have gotten along with my teenage self. And that's me being honest. But
Mm-hmm.
as a parent, no. Once you become a parent, you the same amount of time you spend. I feel like this. If you want to be called mother or father, because my thing is, if it's just gonna be a God bless you moment, let it be that. But the boy was minding his business. Monique brought him into it. So imagine you minding your business, you keep it to yourself, and then it's almost like you think you're good, you think you're okay, and then a bandage get ripped off. And
Mm-hmm.
he probably never even dealt with that. He probably trying to do the work, but trying to undo years of like neglect and years of because the love from a mother to a son is so important. The same way a father to a daughter. That type of
Mm-hmm.
love is so important. I think that like I understand that people got empathy for Monique because let's face it, you're like not this is like you have a female audience, so y'all. I'm not gonna say y'all gonna side with the mother, but it's y'all. We all are biased. It is what it is. Um, Sometimes the best you can ain't enough. Sometimes it's not. Saying I did the best that I can, that's not enough. Because if Monique still is going to repeat the same behavior, the fact that Sydney still appeared on the video, why couldn't you address your son one on one? Why you had to have him there?
Okay. So let me ask the question and then we're gonna go on to the next call. The next caller, you can stay up, but I want everybody to speak. Okay. And she is just like Monique, there's a lot of parents out here. They are who they are.
Yes.
She is going to be having Sydney as her daddy, whatever the situation is. She fucked up, whatever her trauma is, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do? What is he supposed to do for him? Because if she's not ever, you could scream to the top of your lungs for like, hear me, listen listen to what I'm going through. And if they choose not to, for whatever reason, no matter how, it don't even have to be as dramatic as what's going on with Monique, because it's not just about a Monique thing. This is just about, dealing with shit, and how people may have felt being parents or whatever, and just like I love to say this, the humanity of it all. What are you gonna do? Because just it sounds good to say you're a mother and you're supposed to be a mother,
Mm.
right? Father's supposed to be a father, but we know a lot of fathers aren't there to be a father. Okay, but again, but what is he supposed to do?
Move
Because
on.
even to, and I say girl children got daddy issues. You're not supposed to, again, even if it was another situation, you can't let that destroy your life forever. That's my point.
Yeah, I get,
So
but
what is he supposed to do? How do you deal with that? Because you can want your mother to be a certain way. I get it. You could want your father that had been there to be there for you, but he wasn't. But you cannot you cannot forever use that, in my opinion, as an excuse for you to still not grow from that.
I mean, I think we don't really know the young man's perspective. We don't know where he is at in life. He sounds well
Mm-hmm.
educated. He could be a college grad. So I think you simply build a life without that person. And sometimes it takes, you know what? I'm walking away from you.
Mm.
Sometimes it
Yeah.
takes,
Okay.
sometimes, same thing with 50 Cent, son. Like one time, sometimes you got, because, me and
That's
a
a great
couple of, I
example.
know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, like, because the thing I think a lot of people don't realize is, like, that whole child and parent bond, because I know I got to wrap it up soon, it's important. It's almost like you're in the world and the world is the ocean. And you on your boat in your little raft. When imagine every upbringing is a boat. And
Mm-hmm.
when you come from a two up upbringing, you on the little raft. When you come from a
Mm-hmm.
good upbringing, you on a yacht.
Mm-hmm.
And you just going through the waves of life. So not Sydney, the young man has to basically stop ignore that calling, because there's a calling. It's like a beam, like a lighthouse somewhere saying, "Come to me, come to me, come to me, come to me," as that child. And you said
Mm.
because you desire that relationship, so you have to let it go. You almost, I don't want to sound mean, but you almost gotta like have a mental funeral for that person and say, you know what, that will never be. I move on from it. But the thing about the thing that y'all not, I'm not saying y'all. The thing that a lot of people are not realizing is she brought him up. That boy was minding his business. He probably was healing. He probably thought he was healed. So she
Mm.
snatched.
Excuse me, Xander.
Oh,
I have a question.
okay.
So, you know,
Hi, Taylor, by the way.
hi, Jovi. This is my first time getting on your channel. So, I was born in 71, and my
Mm-hmm.
mom did not raise me. But I have no ill will or no ill intent towards her because she chose her path of going for drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say this.
Mm.
What that Bible say? You forsaken all others for your husband. She's married to that man. So she's going to abide by what that man say.
Okay.
Because upon within that Bible, that's what she have to do. Now, if you walk by faith and he get on his knees and pray and ask the Lord for forgiveness and guide him towards his mother to communicate with them, they can overcome this like me and my mother did. We have a
Mm.
better relationship now than we had when I was a teenager. And I'm 52, finna be 53. You
Mm.
have to, you see what children forget, that as mothers, we have to go to work. We have to pay these bills, especially when you're in a single household. So, Xander, my question is to you. I don't know how old you are, but what is your relationship like with your mother?
Good. It's interesting because my relationship, I don't have a relationship with neither my mother nor my father. So it's interesting. So my thing is, I'm looking at it from my point. That's why I think we are biased. But my thing is this too. If we going by the Bible, my thing is she would have did right by her son. So
And that's true,
it's a
but you
lot
have
of
to
things.
forgive too, Xander.
Wait, let Xander, you ask
But
him a
my thing is,
question and then let's go back and forth. Go ahead.
people throw that forgiveness blanket, like they throw it like it's a weighted blanket. My
Mm-hmm.
thing is, when you dealing with somebody who neglect, like, because it is, I don't want to bring up the word abuse, but
Uh-huh.
it's emotional. Like it's like an emotional being every time. So it's almost like I guarantee you Monique won't be able to stand in the same fire that her son's willing to stand in.
Mm-hmm.
Monique could barely stand in the industry. She's talking to standing up to all these people, but anytime Monique's feet get held to the fire, Monique could barely stand. So my thing is, it's almost like y'all want this young man to like go through so much. I think that the biggest thing is sometimes you need to split from that person because if somebody poison you, like sometimes you gotta remove yourself from a toxic family.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Tina Turner. She said every time people ask her why didn't you go back to where you was? She said there was nothing there. Sometimes you gotta realize that there's nothing there. You standing on barren land. But I understand that some people won't understand that, and I understand that, and I respect that. But I ain't mad at nobody. I think it's sometimes just knowledge. It is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. But I
So,
don't want to take up too much of y'all time.
when,
One second before we go on to the next commenter. Thank you, Brittany. Brittany sent us $20. She said, just in case this chat isn't monetized. Girl, you know it's not gonna be. Thank you so much. Jada, go ahead and then we'll go back around. I'm trying to keep it organized. Y'all know it's hard for me to keep this organized. Oh, she
No
left.
problem. No problem. First of all, hey
Oh,
everybody. Like, share, subscribe if you like the vibe. Shout out to those who are sending monetary hand claps. Listen, some of y'all already know. I am a child who feels like I was not raised with either one of my parents, even though my mother was the person I lived with. And um my mother was not a quote unquote horrible mom. She just was financial mom. Say it that way.
mm-hmm,
She made sure I had all the other stuff that I needed, not necessarily an emotional thing going on and all of that. But my father declined me as a kid. Knew about me, paternity test done, everything. He was not with the woman that he married. He met this lady when I was 3 years old, so he wasn't with nobody. It wasn't a strange situation, but yet he did not want to be a father.
mm-hmm,
Now, when I realized that that was the case, my daughter came at 24, so I was 24 years old, trying to figure out if I wanted to be a mother. I had always said I didn't want no kids because I was
okay,
sort of in fear. Like I had older sisters and stuff, so I watched my siblings and them kids and everything. I thought I was good at being an aunt, even as a young aunt. I thought I was a
mm-hmm,
good role model to them. I did not want children. I was nervous I would turn out like my mother or my father because the thought was, yeah, these are my nieces and nephews, and I had them often, but I could always give them back.
yeah,
So as a mother, I was thinking, what if the father did not want to be a dad anymore, no matter in what stage it would be? And what if, because of me trying to raise my child with things that she would need financially, I ended up being like my mother?
Mm.
So I was in fear of children. Well, at 24, I decided, well, let me have this conversation with my dad. I need to know what he meant when I was younger, when he said, when you become a parent, even though I was pissed at this comment, but he said, when
mm-hmm.
you become a parent, you'll understand why I did to you what you're going to do to your child. Freaked me out. So
Oh,
I'm trying to have this conversation at 24, and he had been telling me that his wife was bedridden and all this stuff going on, right? Bad accident. I pull up to this man's house visually, had never been to this man's house. I pulled up to this man's house by a dream that I had, thinking I knew where he lived at. That woman answered the door, walking,
mm-hmm,
talking just fine.
Hmm.
My father had told me he had no other family members, no nieces, no
mm-hmm,
uncles, no cousins. Told me he had none of that, right? This woman welcomed me in because she thought I was a different child. She thought I was somebody else. That came out later. She thought I was some other secret child. Okay, anyway, she's showing me these pictures on their fireplace. My dad had a whole complete family. Okay?
oh
Whole
wow,
complete family. And I'm gonna try to rush it along, but had a whole complete family, y'all. When he walked through the door, she heard him and she said, his name. And she was like, you have a visitor in here. Okay, my dad walked me in, and my dad turned back around, went in the kitchen, put all the groceries up. Then he came in. He was like, hey, how you been doing? I was like, I'm fine. I was like, I'm sorry I showed up or whatever. I need to have a conversation with you. And so he said, oh, okay. He was like, well, how you been doing? Did you graduate from high school? Y'all, even though I only got a chance to see this man once a year, because it always depended. If I graduated that year, I would only be able to see him for graduation, but not my birthday. Nonetheless, this man was at my graduation, y'all. He was there at my high school graduation. What are you talking about, sir? So let me bring this along, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you the background of this father. My father said that the reason why he could not see me, he told me this as a child, he'd worked for the government. He was an undercover agent. That's why he had no phone that I could call him on.
Jesus
Okay, my
Christ.
dad gave me listen, he gave me all these different lies because
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was somebody who could protect me. When I decided to tell him I had been SA'd as a kid while I was the kid still,
Mm-hmm.
that man did not protect me. He did not go and tell my mother because I didn't know how to tell my mother it was a family member. I didn't know how to say it. He did not do so. I also didn't talk to him for years after I told him that. So then when this man later on, his mother passes away, I decide I'm going to go to the funeral. Never met her, right? But that one time where he brought her because she had dementia and all this other stuff, she wouldn't have remembered me anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
turns out she had been living with him the last 3 years of his life, and my uncle ended up telling me that my grandmother was around. I should meet her before she passed. Anyway, she passes away. I say I'm going to the funeral. I had only met her once. This man, I said, no, I didn't need to figure out any hotels or whatever because my mother was arguing with him about it. I decide I'm going to go. My friend lives in Alabama. My friend is going to pick me up from the airport. I'm going to stay with my friend. She's going to make sure I'm good. Whatever support I need, I knew I could count on her. My father decides to tell my mother she doesn't have to do that. She can come and stay at my sister's house. That's where everybody's going to be because she got this big house. Blah, 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 blah. Don't worry about it. Tell her I'm going to pick her up. Do you know what this man did, y'all? This
What?
man sent his brother, okay, his brother that was an adopted brother, no, relation or whatever, but still for context, sent him and my cousin to pick me up. So when I get off the plane, I talk to him. He says, "Oh, your uncle and your cousin is picking you up." So my uncle and my cousin, what these people look like? Because I'm thinking, why would you send some complete strangers to pick me? So I put on Facebook, "Hey, y'all, if y'all find out that there is a woman's body discarded in Alabama somewhere in a ditch, anywhere close by, Mississippi, whatever, call my mother. Call my mother." Because at this point, I thought he was going to try to take me out just so his family and his wife did not seriously know I existed as his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed at that house. It turns out they ended up being cool people. I met them, whatever. Get to the house. Do you know, for 2 days, while all these family folks was coming over visit to check and see how things were going, my father never introduced me to nobody. It took the elder aunt, who was the last sister left to my grandmother, to say, "Sweetie, come here." I go over. She's like, "Who you related to? Because you look like us." But asking people and they don't know who you are. But they say you staying here. So I tell her, "I'm such and such's daughter." "What? Who? He ain't got no kids. I didn't know he had no kids." So now everybody looking weird and they want to know where I came from, right? So then they start thinking, oh, it must be a situation where he was cheating. I'm like, no, no. I was before he even met the woman, right? They asking me, well, what, y'all live in different states or something? You live out the country? I'm like, naturally it slipped. No, we live like 5 minutes away from each other all my life. So then it's like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here, right? So mind you, now I'm trying to cover the rest for my father's image, okay?
You're covering for
I
him.
shouldn't even have to, but I'm covering for his image. I'm trying not to say nothing. I am sitting there pissed because I've been there 2 days. Been there 2 days, and people are looking around at me like I'm the strange one out. Okay, now my cousins, right? They like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, is that who you are? We didn't know who you were. 2 days, y'all. I'm sitting there, nobody really talking to me because they don't know who I am. Father didn't introduce me. I felt weird. I was ready to go anyway by the second day. I had already called my girl
Mm-hmm.
and said, look, this is the address. Come get me. Because I feel like I'm about to spaz out. Anyway, this Negro, this Negro, all this time, because a couple of my cousins decided to take me out, only 2 of them, the guys, they took me because the girls were upset to find out that I ended up being my grandmother's oldest grandchild. And I also had her oldest great grandchild, which meant I was supposed to inherit stuff, not the other. So they take me out. They talking about all this stuff with my dad. My dad he always came down. We saw him for our birthdays, graduations, baby showers, Thanksgiving. He been hanging. I thought maybe he just didn't like kids. Y'all, he would travel to go down to Alabama for everybody else stuff, but wouldn't come 5 minutes away for me. Everybody loved me. Why didn't my father love me? It was so strange to me, right?
Yeah.
Mind y'all, I forgot to tell y'all, when I had my daughter, what I told him was when he asked if he could come to the hospital, he only said that because of my mother. My mother was forcing him to come down. I said, the only way I can come is if you tell your wife that I am actually, honestly, your daughter. Because if you plan on coming to see my baby, I had just woke up from a coma. If you come to see my baby, you're not going to do my baby like you did me. If you're coming, you must now be willing to be in her life. That man told me yes, came with dresses, told me his wife bought the dresses. I called to the house to thank the wife. The wife like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Who are you again? You the girl that came over to the house that time and walked out? I didn't buy anything. What? Okay, anyway, let me try to hurry up and wrap this up. Now listen, we're talking about my grandmother passed when I turned 30. She passed away the day that I had my 30th birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
I did not talk to this man again until I turned 38. Okay. Turned 38. And he called me to find out if I was some other child of his that was putting stuff at his door. So here's another child. And I had always told my mother when I was little, he told me I had 2 other siblings. It was a girl and a boy, and they were my other sisters in them age. Okay, let me continue. This man's wife passed away. Oh, did I tell y'all my brother did pass away, but he asked me to do the obituaries, but then told me I couldn't come to the funeral? Anyway, his wife passes away. He asked me to do the obituaries for the wife, but I still could not come to the funeral. No problem. I didn't know her anyway, right? No biggie, but I was not doing the obituary because that is just wrong. How do you keep doing this to somebody? Okay. So, wife passed away. People like, he coming over to your mother's parties that you're having at the house. You should be taking him out to dinner. It's Father's Day tomorrow. You should take him out to dinner. My father has never taken me out to dinner, y'all. I'm 38 years old. We've never been out to dinner up until that point. You should be nicer. Why you not talking to him? First of all, I don't even know what to talk to the man about. I said hello when he walked through the door. I checked to see if he wanted a beer when he came through the door. What else do y'all want me to do? This man said, I want to try to be in your life now. Guessing because the wife passed. But every single time that he would hit me about something, it was because he needed me to do something. His bill could not get paid, I guess because he was tricking off on some chick. Because turns out my daddy get good money between his pension and between him being in the service. It ends up he had to give me all this information. I'm finding out my dad has good money every month. Why was his bill about to be turned off and stuff? I have no idea. But now I'm helping him, right? I'm helping him. I'm being kind. I'm being nice. But that is the only time I hear from him when something is needed from me. That is the only time I hear from him. Otherwise, he comes to visit at my mother's house. He does not come to visit at my house, the house that's down the street. I done told y'all I live down the street. So anyway, my daughter, awesome young lady. Everybody loves my daughter. That man does not call and have a conversation with my daughter. Every time I look up, this man constantly acts like and tells other people he be trying to be in my life. And he always seems to act like it's something that I'm doing that makes him step back. No, sir, be honest. The reason why you step back, because I don't give him nothing to be mad at, nothing to feel sad about. I encourage him when he say, he feeling lonely or whatever. I'm nice to him. I've dropped him off food when he was sick. But yet, it's only when he wants something that he's calling. And then if I call him, it sounded just like those text messages that Monique be sending him, where she's like, it seems like she missed the call. I'm going to call you later. I'm going to call you tomorrow. Sorry, I was doing this, that, and the third. I will call you. How many times in a straight set of text messages, if y'all saw them, where it was like, sorry, call you back. I'll call you tomorrow. Oh, sweet baby, I'll call you later. That is my father. So when people are like, well, y'all taking it from a standpoint of because y'all done been through it, right? Because we've been through it, we know what these type of people are like. And just like she do when she on the internet talking about sweet babies and stuff, my dad is over there sweet baby in my other side of the family, right? All them cousins and everything, they know him. They think he the greatest man alive. Then you sit up there and you got Monique who been fussing, whining, and complaining about people like Tyler Perry. You want Tyler Perry to give you more than just that apology. You want Tyler Perry to do more than when he offered you the money. You want him to do all this other stuff in order for you to feel vindicated and feel good, but you don't understand that your son wants the same thing. Your son wants more than an apology, just like you want more than an apology from Tyler Perry behind closed doors. Your son wants more than the money, just like you told Tyler Perry you want more than the money. You don't want the pity stuff. You want actual true action. Well, that's what your son is asking for, Monique. Yeah, okay, I understand people talking about, well, how many times you go say sorry? That is her blood. If you really mean it as a parent, not just a mother, not just as a father, but if you sit up and say to yourself, I want a true, real connection with my child. I messed up, blah, blah, blah. Understand all of that. Don't get me wrong. I feel bad that she was pushed into a situation early. Or not necessarily pushed, but you get what I'm saying. But at the same time, you want people to take accountability and you're not looking for your own accountability. You messed up. It's going to take you a while. And you just need to stick your feet in the dirt, grip tight, and do it. Because what you're showing, at least in those text messages, don't look like it.
Okay.
It just looked like you're trying to pacify the moment. Maybe so he don't talk bad to you in the news. Like how I didn't want to talk bad about my father, even though I understood he wanted shit.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Jada. You know I fuck with you, but
my God.
I want why? Why do you help him?
I was thinking.
Because he is
I love you. I fuck with you. I know a lot of your story. My question is like, why would you? Why you help him for? He denied you his whole
because
why.
he is my father. Some of us who we grew up with the church thing, and again, this is not all of us. I'm saying some of us. We grew up
Mm-hmm.
with that church thing. You either your mother, your father. You treat people
Yeah,
the way that you want them to treat you. You look out for those who cannot look out for themselves, even though they
you
not
got a
looking
lot.
out for you because your blessing don't always come through the people that you help. And so I'm stuck there. But there are days, shoot, I even told Couture Bay, look, my daddy got money, child. Look, just I don't want you to treat him bad. And she didn't ask for this, but I was joking one day on her live. And I'm like, girl, you can have my daddy. You can have my daddy child, get all the money you can get. Whatever you don't get before he died, don't come back later asking for it. But that is the reason why. And I try not to embarrass him when the cousins call. Matter of fact, just because I didn't want no drama and no issues with me having the inheritance, I signed it away. Because I was like, they gonna be mad at my daddy if I decide to take it. They've been around all their life. They want this big house and stuff. I signed it all away. I didn't want them to be tripping out with him over that because of some decisions that he made. I left it alone.
Okay, wait,
Y'all, that
Jada,
man
hold
didn't
on.
even let me ride in the limo for the funeral. My uncle had to say, well, I paid for these limos. And so she go ride in the limo. We got to the funeral. Do y'all know where the little chair sits for the piano person?
Mm-hmm.
My father did not make sure I had a seat, but I watched as he made sure that everybody else had a seat in the first two rows while he walked and sat people down. And you know where I sat at? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Well, here, sit over here. So I sat at the freaking organ during my grandmother's funeral, and he didn't even try to make sure how I got home. I looked up,
Okay,
I called my girl picked me up from the funeral because I was in tears, feeling
I can
discarded even
imagine.
still.
I can imagine. Jada, hold on. You don't gotta
That's
go
really the
nowhere.
only reason why.
Oh
Wait,
my
Jada,
God.
wait 1 second. You ain't gotta go nowhere, but other people want to speak real fast, and we'll get back to that because
That's
wow.
a lot.
Yeah, that is just trying to
Um,
get that man grace. Ugh, it's a struggle. So I
okay,
don't never be mad
I've
at people
lost
who decide they gonna let go. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I ain't about to be nice to these people. I'm about to let go. I ain't about to be friendly. I don't care what's going on with them. I'm just gonna walk away. I ain't never mad at people who say that. I wish I could when it came to my parents. Everybody else I could drop easily without any remorse. But some about my mother and my father, I stick by them for sure. Everybody else, I try to give a bit of grace. If you do a little too much, I'm done with you. But
okay. All right, Jada, hold on. I guess I don't remember who came on first, if it was Patrice or Golden, but y'all go ahead. When do y'all start?
Okay. Wow. So I want to keep it specifically in the context of we're talking about the situation with Monique and her son and the parenting, right? So if
We're
you look
talking
at the
about parenting specifically,
yeah,
not just
right.
Monique and her son.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But based off of Monique and her son's situation,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on
Yeah.
social media. So I think a lot of times the younger generation, especially of today, don't take into consideration the difference in the generation and traditionally how one their parent was raised as opposed to their values or how they're being raised or how they're raising their children. So when you talk about a perspective of the generations, like I come from, I'm right on the cuffs of a boomer. My son's on the cuff of the Gen X. My mother
Mm-hmm.
is the cuff of the silent treatment, right? And the silent era, if you will. And so I think that there is a lot of trauma that happens that sometimes get passed down from generation to generation. If you look at Monique's own trauma, being traumatized, essayed as a child, had a child young, not knowing what it is to raise a child because she had her own trauma, not knowing how to be raised. So I think that a lot of the mistakes that she made being a teen mom herself, having her son so early, like so many mothers have. I was a teen mom. My mom was a teen mom. Her mom was a
Mm-hmm.
teen mom. You know, it's generational. And sometimes like what I see now that is going on. Like I know Monique personally. I worked with her in Vegas, right? I don't know her on a personal like her family life, but I know her personal on a work life, but
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of seen how she moved. And I'm just gonna base a little judgment off of just what I've gotten to know in the last 6 years of knowing her and working specifically with her in Vegas. Um, I know that the woman that she was then, she's not that woman now. She has admitted to her not wanting to be ready or wanting to be a mother. It was more important to her to chase her career, chase the bag. She's talked about that. She said she was sorry for that. She's made her mistakes for that. We cannot, once your child becomes an adult, you cannot continue to hold the mistakes and the things that your parent did once you become an adult. If you having problems with that, you need to seek therapy for that professionally and try to find some way to forgive and move on, or not forgive but still move on, because I don't believe that children should continue to hold that type of animosity and anger or whatever it is that they parents made. Now you a parent, and guess what? You're gonna make mistakes too. You may not make the ones that your parents did, but trust me, you're gonna make them, and it's gonna be some things that your child is gonna hold you accountable for, and not like that you did, because parenting does not come with a manual, right? And they may or may not ever tell you. You know what I mean? So, like, my mother come from the generation where she stopped her career. My mother wanted to be a judge, but she had kids at a young age, so she ended up being a housewife. You know what I mean? So she had regrets later in life, and I asked her, and I said, it's okay. I wouldn't feel bad if you tell me you had regrets of having children at a young age. You wish you could have pursued your career in law, and she admitted it, and there's nothing wrong with that because we're humans, right? And so now I'm in my career, and I'm growing up and I'm traveling and I'm touring. I had a son as a teenager, and I said I didn't want to end up like my mother, having regrets of not chasing my dream, right? So
Mhm.
there was times when I was away from my son. Later in life let me know how he felt about that, right? So I had to look back at my mother's mistakes, forgive my mother for a lot of mistakes she made as a parent. I had to do that as an adult. That's the only way you can move on as an adult, whether I have a relationship with my mother or not. I had to let it go. I cannot continue. You cannot continue to hold yourself hostage, and your parents or whoever else is going on about their life ain't thinking about you. Now, when it comes to now it's your turn, you'll see it'll be some of the same situations where your child may come to you and say some things. Parenting, unfortunately, does not come with a manual, you guys. I don't believe that we should continue to say, well, you made me suffer for 20 years. Now you should take 20 years to make it up. Like, come on, we got to stop. We can't do that, y'all. We can't do that. We can't hold people hostage. Children should not continue to make their parents pay for something they did when they were young and inexperienced, because it can come back to bite you in the ass every time. And that's the only thing that I'm saying. Now, what's happening on social media with Monique and her son, I think that it's a lot of blank areas, guys, that we not aware of on both of their ends, where they're both are at fault, where they both need some accountability, right? And I believe that absolutely they both need to be in the privacy up under a therapist together, or individually if they can't get it together. And guess what, you guys? It's okay if you cannot work it out. Honestly, because if you have a toxic parent and you know you need to heal, I'm sorry. I'm tired of our generation saying, but that's your blood. Just deal with the pain they causing you and just forgive them and just keep coming around and why they hurting you. See, I don't believe in that. I'm okay with not having to ever speak to somebody again in life that's causing me pain. I don't care who it is, my child, my parent. If they are toxic and I need to heal, I need to work on me, period. We need to stop. This is my humble opinion. We need to stop saying, well, that's my mother and that's my father and that's my child, but they toxic and they constantly come around you. They don't treat you right and they hurt you. So again, he's 30 something years old now. He has to be held accountable for his own healing. He cannot continue to blame his mother, in my humble opinion, for her causing him. Because guess what? She got to deal with that and pay for that. And it's going to come back on her if she's guilty of still continuing a toxic relationship with her. He only need to worry about him. They either going to work it out and go to therapy and heal and forgive each other, or they going to move on. because this continuing back and forth thing, it only continues to open the old wounds, and
Mm.
you slide down with they pouring alcohol on the open wound. That's all it is continuously, and it's hurting on her part. It's hurting on his part. I've seen her say, I was horrible mom. I was a horrible wife. She's lost two husbands. Now she got a man, a black man that's sticking by her through thick and thin, and everybody got a problem with that. Like her husband not supposed to sit there and be by her side while she go through anything, whether it's with the industry or her children. See, because he can go on with his life and have his family, but then if she lose her husband over this, where that's gonna leave her? Then y'all be saying, "Oh, she just a old bitter single woman." See, we can't have it both ways. It can't be selective outrage. That's all I wanted to say about that. I appreciate you, you listening and let me allow me to come on the panel to have this conversation. I believe it's important. We got to learn how to heal on our own, because there's a thing called accountability when we become of age, where our responsibility for our healing is on us. It's not on the parent.
Well, I appreciate you for coming up so much.
All
Hold on
right.
1 second before the next person speaks. This is heavy. I knew it was gonna be heavy, but shit. Don't listen. That's what we need. We need truth. Okay? We need truth. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking to. We need truth. And the truth will set you free. Getting shit off your chest, that's therapeutic. Okay, but I want to say, Black Glass Entertainment sent us $20.24. Thank you so much. A great conversation on parenting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I can't really type in the chat.
Joe, can I say something really quickly?
It's okay. Who's next?
No,
Okay, who want to speak now? Xander?
real
I
quick.
know it was somebody before
Yeah,
you. If you
I just
want to
want to
be
quick.
quick, but we got it, because I want
I want to
everybody
rebuttal.
to say what they got to say.
I just want to rebuttal one thing. I feel like it's a constant thing of gaslighting from like, oh, I did the best I could. It's almost like somebody saying, I'm known for slapping people. So when I slap you, I'm known for slapping people. So when I slap you, you just gotta accept it. And then even in the past, because the boy was minding his business. Everybody saying he needs to be held accountable. The boy been building himself up. We never seen this boy speak ever. You know,
Have
as soon as Monique said something, he said he's never publicly said anything for his mother to be a famous. How often do people come up on social media and speak on their parents? This boy's never spoke on this, and it's like it's something on it within the black community where it's like, you got to deal with that. You got no you if you punch me, how I'm gonna be accountable for you punching me? But yeah, I understand it. I maybe that's just a generational understanding that will never
No,
be
but
understood.
I didn't never say that he shouldn't speak. I never said that. I said he got to learn how to move on and heal on his own. And he does, because he may never get his mother's love and approval. He may never get what he wants from her. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. And at that point, he has to be accountable for his healing himself. That's what I said. I didn't say he didn't have a right to talk. So don't say I said that, because I did.
y'all
Well,
want to know
who's
the
next?
reality of something real quick? And this gonna be probably the quickest thing I ever say. People who are hurt as children take a longer time than those who are not hurt as children. So it's gonna take them a longer time. I know people are saying get over it, or just go in and heal, but a broken child has a harder time than even a broken teenager, a broken adult. There's just something there. And I'm not saying that just as on my own. I work with children.
Just in general, yeah.
It's a constant.
I understand. Listen, I've said this before, and I understand everyone's perception here. Like, this got real deep, real fast. um, and I'm not going to. And I said here in the beginning of this video, I let everybody know a couple of my issues, and it took me years, okay, to be able to deal with that, and whatever trauma I experienced, and being able to say, for my own mental health, I can't let it, you know what I'm saying? I can't let this shit destroy me for my own health. Um, but we're not, and no one is taking away the validity of whether whatever. Well, let me not say no one. I'm not taking away the validity of whatever traumatic experience everyone has been through, everyone on the panel who has been through it. Shalon has been through, I'm not taking away, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm taking away the validity of it, because damn, it's real shit. And like the humanity of it, I get it. Like, this is people's lives here. I'm just, in my opinion, from working through my own shit, and it took me years, fucking damn near a decade, to really, really deal with certain things, that I don't want it to affect me. I don't want to, I don't want to have that resentment in me, that anger in me, because at the end of the day, it eats you alive. And
I
I want
agree,
to
Jovi.
ask Jada, how, and if you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, how has this affected, how has your father, and even trying, trying and doing all this shit, and he's still not, how has that affected you? How has that affected, like, your relationships? How has that affected, like, you?
Okay, so
If you don't want to, you don't have to. But we here.
girl, look, you done heard me give y'all different thoughts and advice on dating and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I tell people I did not have somebody who actually raised me to be the way that I am when it comes to relationships. Thank God I don't know, maybe because I was a nerd, but thank God I recognized when I saw relationships that weren't toxic. And I
Mm.
decided if my relationships don't look something like this, I
Mm-hmm.
ain't getting in it. If a man is not treating me something like this, I don't want it. And so for me, sometimes my friends, family members, they be like, man, you drop guys quick though. Or you don't even bring up, because a lot of times they know I ain't bringing no guys around. But when they see certain stuff and they be like, well, we know you were in a relationship. Like, dang, how long did that last? And I'm like, look, y'all think I've been in relationships. Majority of the guys that y'all know that, I'm at least going out on dates, me and these guys ain't committed. I'm still getting to know them. Y'all date too quick for me. And I'm talking about my family, not people, but people too, I guess. Some people date too quick for me. I
Mm-hmm.
need to actually know, because I don't want to end up with somebody like my father. That is the biggest fear I ever had. When I realized what I was dealing with my father, realizing he wasn't an agent, realizing all this different stuff, realizing he only lived 5 minutes away, my mind was stuck on, I ain't dealing with no man that gives me any of these signs that it looked like my mother was going through, my sisters and them were going through, my brothers who had wives, but they dealing with some of the raggediness that some of my brothers. I just was like, I'm not dealing with those things. And people think that sometimes that means that I must be miserable because I ain't been with a man in a year. Like, if I ain't dated a man in a year that they know I went on a date, they're like, how do you do it? Learning that, I think it's going on 5 years now that I haven't had sex with a man. They're like, what? You've been dating, you've been in a relationship, you ain't had sex. I don't want no mistake. One, two, that man has to prove to me certain different things before I'm even ready to give him my body. There's just something about it. So there is a bit of strain to what other people feel. I feel like it's a blessing. I'm 42. I feel like it's been a blessing to not have to deal with the stuff that I see that other people deal with just to say they got a man. For the ones who are in love and you can see that love, you know what I'm saying? I ain't saying they don't get into arguments and stuff. I'm just saying for the ones that you can see their love, I clap it up. I support it. I love it. I be wanting love in those type of aspects. And thank God that the ones that I've dealt with Okay, I shouldn't say dealt with. The ones that I have decided that I would be in relationships with and go further with, they have treated me great. When I tell people that the only problem, that's why I don't have no bad man stories. The only time that it becomes where we're not getting married, child, they be wanting them children. I don't want no more children. Yeah, well, I left my
I have a
fiance because
question.
he kept
I have a
bringing up
question.
children.
All right, hold
I
on.
have a question.
I heard somebody say they have a question.
Yeah, it's
Go
me.
ahead.
In this whole situation with Monique, when it was realized back and forth that she was having problems with her son early on, was it ever mentioned why didn't the father come in the picture and take the son, or was that ever brought up? Because I think that's a conversation that I have not heard anyone say, because I know majority of the time, because we're the bearers of the children. But like if it's an issue with especially a boy and the mother and the son not getting along, have it been has that been brought up or talked about as far as why the father didn't step in and get the son at some point?
I don't
It
know.
could have just been from back in the day, OG Patrice. I'm okay, so my background is Mississippi Southern more than I am Detroit City. And usually if the mother was not capable, the child did not always go with the father. The child went with an aunt. The child went with grandma. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't, it was, even if it was a boy, the boy did not usually go with the father. So that could have been why. It could have
Right,
probably
because
just
I'm
been saying that
saying
it was better for the mother, or excuse
right.
me, for a female person that actually had, it's usually where they gave them to somebody that had a father figure in the house.
Or either that's because that's what I'm not hearing, because it's always so much vitriol for the mother. So I'm wondering why no one is having the conversation about, well, where was the father? Why didn't he step up? Why didn't he come in the picture? And I get what you're saying. That's just my question, is because Monique is getting all the flack from being this horrible mother, but nobody is bringing up the point about the fathers. I guess is my point.
I believe
I think there's a problem with the father like
Wait,
that,
wait, wait.
and probably she being brought up because she brought him up. So
I
he
believe
told us that.
that's
Oh, I'm
what
sorry. Go ahead.
say I believe Monique is being brought to the forefront so much is because he said it in his first live. Like she's been public about speaking on him, and the whole purpose of him coming forward is she wanted him to stop speaking on their relationship and driving this false narrative. So that's why he came out in the first place, to just kind of give his side, which I feel like he has the right to answer, the accusation or the allegations that his mom is putting out there. He has a right to defend his reputation. I mean, she's been speaking freely about it. Now, for the back and forth, only thing I feel like the text messages that they released, which I think it was her husband that released it, they only have been proven Shalom correct in what he has been saying all along about her personality, and I just feel like he is feeling vindicated with the public support. I think he's in a place where he's okay with letting it go, and he's pouring himself into fatherhood and into his child, because sometimes it comes a point in the life where you just have to recognize a person is never going to get it. They just going to be that toxic, gaslighting, narcissistic personality. And there's no get, I mean, until they're ready to have a meeting of the minds, there's no way of getting around it. And the best way to do is just move on and heal yourself, and just understand that person is just going to be who they are. I have a cousin that has a narcissistic parent. She just had to come to that crossword. Like, she will never get the mother that she ideally felt like she should have, because she mentally just was not capable of it, because me as a mother, if my child would have came out publicly like that, I would have been on the first flight smoking to try to fix it.
Mm.
You know what I
Can
mean?
I ask? Can
It
I
put
ask you all a question?
all in. Not
An
everybody
honest question.
has not everybody
So
has the tools.
Hold
Wait,
on,
hold on
let
one
her
second,
finish what
OG.
she had to say, and then you can ask your question, and then Bree
okay,
can speak.
Okay.
okay.
not everybody has the tool or the mental capacity to process other people's feelings, and
Mm.
I just think Monique is not capable of it. I pray for Shalom. I'm about to go watch the Bob Marley movie. Ladies, thank you so much for having me.
Good movie.
This was a
Thank
Oh,
great
you,
you welcome. I
girl.
have to check that
uh,
out.
listen.
I love Bob Marley. I'm gonna have to check that
It
out.
was a good movie, y'all, and shout out to you, Naughty Love.
Thank you so
So
Thank
so
you,
so the
Nadi.
so so the question I want to ask: do y'all believe that it is possible that because Monique is not the same mother she was as she is now. Once you have because she have other kids now. Sometimes that second set or third set of kid get a whole different person. They get a whole different parent or mother, right, than the oldest child. I know, looking at the context of my growing up, my brother, who was the oldest, was different. My mother parenting was different by the time it got to me than by the time it got to the later ones in life, because
Mhm.
now you got two or three kids and they better, more knowledgeable. The mistakes they made with the first child they may not make with the second and third. So do y'all believe that that is possible in her growth now, that the parent she was then with him is not the parent she is now with her children now? Do y'all think
Well,
that that's possible?
well,
I
Patrice,
think that's
that's why I
possible.
was, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I think that's possible because we all know people who are like that. I don't
Yeah.
the first child experienced completely different situations than like the younger children, right? But I also don't think, like Nadi was saying, that like she has whatever issues. If you have a narcissistic parent, if you have a I don't give a fuck parent, you can't make them, and like
Hmm.
trying to force them to, or like even dating, speaking to a narcissist or somebody like that, trying to like you're trying to like make them like, if I say it, maybe if I say it this way, they'll understand how I'm feeling, or maybe it'll change how they feel. That is just who they are, and it's not a you thing; it's a them thing, and you
Okay, so
Indeed.
can't.
y'all believe
Indeed.
Monique is a narcissist. This is what I'm
I'm
hearing.
not
No, I
saying
don't
she's
Okay,
a
well,
believe
I'm gonna
that.
tell
narcissist.
you.
I'm
I'm gonna tell
saying
you
that
what the thought is,
she
Patrice.
is 16 years old, and she told you that. She told her. That's what I'm saying.
Told us all that.
She's saying, yeah, she told us all that. She's the most, you can't, I think it's painful. I think it's painful to want more than from somebody, regardless of that they're willing to give it to you, then they're willing to give you. I know they should be able to. You would want them to, it would be a beautiful thing if they could. But if they could, chances are you wouldn't be in this situation to begin with.
My thing is
Fact
this,
that
and
she
So
can't
I'm gonna drop
even
it down.
associate what she want from other people who have done her wrong,
But that's
and
different.
and
Motherhood.
transfer that same thing with her son is
No, I think
baffling.
I think I feel like this, and I'm gonna drop down again. I think we conflate
Hey,
the
Bree.
issues with the overall. And everybody, thank y'all for sharing your stories and your testimonies. This is really heavy. Make sure y'all send Jovi a cash app. I sent her one immediately because I already knew where this was going. But
Okay.
I have to say this as a woman, and I'm shouting for the rooftop for the single girls because they always say this to me. They be like, "Bree, you're such an inspiration because the burden of parenthood is placed at women's feet." And I'm not
Hmm.
disregarding men, because if you have a wife who is doting and loves you, no matter how bad you are, the kids will uplift you, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Hughley situation, right? I don't like that we're allowing the son, he can express however he wants to, but his issues are not the same issues she has with Tyler Perry and Oprah. This woman is fighting hard because
thank you for saying that.
she gave up her mothering for a dream, and they took money from her. And oh, by the way, my son hates me on top of that. Oh, by the way, he's admitted that she apologized and that her cousin is like a mother to him. And I really want everybody on the panel to read the Jennifer Lewis book, the first one, where she talked about
Okay.
her issues with her mother and said,
I found a mother in this person, and that is my mother. A lot of y'all have mothers and fathers y'all disregard because the person who birthed you is not who they cracked up to be. And it's so unfortunate and my heart breaks for y'all. But as someone who watched my mother cry because parenting was so hard, the sacrifices she did, the things my mother had to do as a woman, a wife, and a mother, she said my mother has a doctorate in nursing. She said she would have never got her doctorate in nursing had the relationship she has with my sister would be the way that it is. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And my father, he told me a long time ago when we had a heart to heart, he said, I was here first. I was here first. You came into my life. Right? And I understood what he was saying so much. And a lot of people will take that and twist it however they want to. But this is the very reason why so many women and men are opting out of parenthood. It's not because of the generational curses and the traumas. It's one day your child can come up on social media when you're at the height of your success and you're like, I love my kids. And your child will come up here and say, you won't ish. He didn't have a mommy dearest experience. His mama wasn't tying him to the bed and bring him out the way. She said I was a horrible mom. Me and his daddy used to go rounds, knock between the washer and dryer. And then she said, I've owned up to it. I owned up to everything. I've apologized. And she said, when he is ready, I will be ready. She said, because my son deserves that. She said that. He deserves that. And she said he gets everything. Everything she's leaving to her other kids, she's leaving to him as well. So if she was a deadbeat mom, she wouldn't leave him nothing. Ask Steve Harvey if he's going to do that for his kids. That's the question we should be asking. We're comparing apples to oranges, and I said the same thing about 50 Cent's son. At some point, you got to realize he is not going to be the father you need him to be. I don't believe in chasing down people to be something. And then on top of that, her son is a father to a daughter. And are they married? I don't think so. So I'm curious to know how that relationship is like because he didn't marry that woman. Is he an active father in his daughter's life? We don't know. But now it opens up the questions to other things. And I don't blame the dad because they're young, but this is why I encourage women do not listen to these people and these men about having kids in your 20s because sometimes you get things in your 30s. Sometimes you get things in your 40s. Beyonce said it best on her Renaissance documentary. She feels like she's drowning every day and she doesn't have time. Every time she looks at her kids, time is just we down another year, we down another year. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I give parents the grace, even the trash ones. I give them the grace, especially because she's not speaking on their parenting. She's speaking on what they've done to her. And I didn't like that DL Hughley. DL Hughley brought that son up in the grandchild up. He brought him up in a disparaging light because that's when he started speaking. He didn't speak when the interview had already had 1 million views and all that stuff. It's when DL Hughley said you're a horrible mother and you're a horrible grandmother and your kids don't love you. And then here comes the son. So I don't like us conflating the issues and I don't like us watering down the timeline. But again, I love you all. I hope y'all break free from the bondage of the trash and know that y'all are loved. And Mother's Day is coming up, Father's Day is coming up. Who is the real father and mother to you? They deserve all the grace, all the praise. Not the people who birthed you. All right, y'all. I'm dropping back down. Get these
I
likes up,
agree.
share this live.
That was awesome,
And
Couture. I love
okay,
it.
so here's the thing
Okay,
with
one second. Hold
some of the
on.
stuff.
Nicole,
Okay,
wait. 1 second. Nicole, thank you
sorry.
for the $5 donation. She said for a great show. Thank you so much. If you'd like to donate to the channel, y'all see my Cash App on the screen. I am stressed. Go ahead.
Um, somebody else wanted to go, so I can go after them.
I've been here for a long time, just sitting and waiting.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm so sorry. I lost track. It was so much. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay. Thank you for having this. Patrice and Kotobe, I echo everything you guys said. It's just you're on point. I am a daughter of a mom that I am low contact with. She's a teenage mom. I have grace for her. I know that we're toxic together for each other. So I know to separate myself. I am here for her. I'm there for her when she needs things, but I take it in small dosage. Um, so even though I should be on the side where, I'm against Monique, but I recognize and I give grace, which I find very shocking to me, is how quickly people were also willing to turn against Monique. It's just like I'm just shocked, because I'm like, okay, this is how we just villainize Black women. We can do nothing right. People are talking, nobody's talking about the father, and or much. And I know Monique is the public figure, but still, this person, it's just like nobody took a pause. Automatically, they went in on her. And I just like, whoa. Also, I'm almost 50 and I am child free by choice. I choose not to have kids because all the trauma and everything, I did not want to pass that down. And every day I look at society and I'm like, I'm so glad that I made that choice, because and it's just like, I'm looking at this situation and I'm saying, you know what? This is a perfect example of why not to have these bastards. Sorry, why women should really take control of their reproductive system and say, hey, I didn't feel it then. Be true to yourself. So many times people are trying to coerce you into things. And I'm sure Monique probably was coerced into having that child. And now he's going to be the downfall of her career. Not the Tyler Perry, not the Oprah, but this kid. And that's really sad. She's just trying to get her stride back. And this is happening. And I'm like, whoa. So please, everybody out there, we all have our opinions. We're entitled to it. And I'm just saying, public sphere is not the place for therapy. Tomorrow I have my therapy session, and I'm so looking forward to that. While we're here on the internet, sometimes it's not the place to share things. Get a counselor and have therapy session. That will help you. The son of Monique said that he's gone to therapy, whatever. And everybody's like, oh, he's so articulate. I'm like, if he's so articulate, why not have the conversation privately? There are certain things, if he wanted to humiliate his mother. It's another thing again. We're always going to take, society is going to take the side of a Black man over a Black woman. And this is very disheartening to me. And I'm like, whoa. So these are the things that I wanted to share, and just to drop in and say thank you for having this. But it's just like, we need to step back as commentators and just have grace. Give people these are their personal life. It's not, how is it really, besides having conversations like this, how is it helping society? How is it helping us? It's just like, we're here, I can't say we. Some people are going in on Monique, and I think Xander said it earlier, how Monique was getting the easy treatment from women. And I'm like, no, I've seen more women criticize Monique than I have men. And that's ridiculous. And I'm like, there is really no sisterhood. So this is, it's crazy how this is happening. So I'm like, whoa. So that's all I have to say for now. So thank you for Jovi for having this conversation.
Thank you so much. Hey, Red, I just saw Red's comment. Yeah, I don't think that, like she said, a lot of women are, they're coerced. That's why a lot of situations, they think they're gonna be in this relationship. They don't want these children. And that, in my opinion, that's the situation that Monique was in. She probably didn't want this child. I do personally believe that all of this is an attempt to personally destroy her. That's my personal opinion. I believe him coming out and doing all of this and making all these videos is to try to pay her back for what she has done, or what she wasn't, or what she did not do for him while he was growing up.
And
I think
Joe,
it's sad. I think the whole thing is sad. My homegirl just texted me talking about I'm helping the community. I'm stressed out. Go ahead.
And I know this is a stressful thing, right?
Because I can see, I understand both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I understand both sides, and like, women don't get a break for, but I also understand that having children when you won't want them, and the effects that will have on the child.
Yeah,
It's
like I told you, when I was grown, I asked my mother, would she do it differently all again? And I said I wouldn't be offended if you said you wish you wouldn't have had all these kids and got married at 16.
yeah,
It's okay, you know what I mean? Like your parents are human too. They
yeah,
they have they have regrets that they probably not even telling you about because they don't want to hurt your feelings. And it takes a strong person to ask their parent if they could do it all again, would they do it different and not be offended by the answer. And I think a lot of people that are coming at Monique with the vitriol are the people that still hurt in their own issues with their own parents. I think that because we tend to do that as a
I
community,
agree. Yeah,
we portray our hurt on other people, right? Like hurt people hurt people. And whatever age that Monique got her hurt was the age she stayed stuck in. Whatever age her son's hurt is, he's still stuck in that.
yeah,
But just like Monique had to had to get over hers for herself with her parents and her son, he has to do the same thing. That onus is not on Monique. He's an adult now. And that's the
hmm,
part that needs to continuously be reiterated. I could not, like, I was in my 30s still holding that on until I had to learn that for myself. And I had to learn that in therapy myself. My therapist had to tell me that. Oh, God, did it hurt? Yeah, it stings. But it was the onus was on me. And at the end of the day, when my therapist said, you go home and you get a pros and a cons notepad and you write down all the great things about your mother and all the lousy things that you didn't like about your mother. And we got to go from there. What outweighs what? My pros outweighed my cons, y'all, because I had to be real with myself, that I had to let go of things that I needed to not hold my mother responsible for once I became an adult and able to know right from wrong and make those decisions for myself, regardless to whatever it is I had went through with my mom in my early adolescence and teenage years and early 20s. I had to get that. I had to do that homework. And when I did, I was able to go back and understand my mother better because she was hurt and broken and was a teenage mom. It made so much sense. So I think that we need to, wherever the hurt started for us, that's where we still stuck at that age. And that's what we need to deal with as an, we can be adults in the grown body and in the age and all of that, but the mind and the mental is still stuck in that little girl that still hurt and this and that. And that's what we got to deal with as adults in our community.
I agree. I agree, sis.
I would
Can
have
I
to
say
say
something?
I am of the thought
Because I
that and I know sometimes people think it's a bad thing when they notice that I do it, but it has been a bit of a blessing that my mother and my father were not emotionally connected in a way. And I know that's going to sound weird, but it did allow me to be able to cut things off and heal when it came to anybody else. Things have happened to me in life, and I have been able to drop it and be like, I'm good. I'm good. I break up with somebody, I'm not thinking about it still. Me and somebody get into it with each other, we could be friends. I let a friend go that I had since kindergarten. Let her go when I realized she was doing something dirty and scurvy. Let her go. I ain't thought nothing about it. She done thought about it. She be trying to reconnect. I just have that feeling that if you do something so dirty, I got to let you go. The only people that I'm obligated to be my mother and my father. Other family members, I do them the same way, and they know I'm like this. It doesn't bother me as much as my mother and my father when they do things. And even then, my mother can tell y'all, she could piss me off and know she wrong. And if she called back in 10 minutes, asking me if I could come over and watch a movie with her, it doesn't bother me. That's her way of apologizing. there are things where, it's still toxic. It's still wrong. Don't get me twisted on that part.
I was gonna say,
But
let me say
because I
this.
realize,
Let me say this. Me and you, Jada, are like to a certain extent, especially when we've had these sort of conversations for years on this channel. And one thing I know, especially from my therapist and going back and forth with my therapist, I'm a cold bitch, just like you say. I'm a cold,
okay, like
I'm a
talking to a brick
cold, but
wall.
that's a part of the trauma. That's the part of
It
the
is.
trauma. Me
It
being
is. And
me
that's
being able, because the way I feel is if I can deal with this, who the fuck is you? Like if I could deal with
exactly.
my dad doing some shit, who the fuck is you? You know what I'm saying?
Like,
That,
I ain't even bothered. Like, come on
but
now. It's
that is,
sometimes guys
but
will be
I'm gonna
saying
say
something, or
that
females,
is
and
a
I be like,
part of the trauma, sis. That is a
oh no,
part of the
I
trauma,
understand
and
that.
I've
That's
been
what I
working
said.
on
I
that
can see.
shit because being able to just shut it down on people and things is not fucking healthy. That's what
You
my
know what?
therapist
They
told me.
say it's not healthy. They say it's not healthy. The thought is, for me, is that I am happy I do not have to deal with that. The amount of people that can hurt you on a daily, on the weekly, you get what I'm saying? And for me to be able to separate myself from it immediately and still move on my happy day. Like, you
It's a
look, you ain't
protective
even bothered
mechanism.
me,
I
baby.
get it.
I ain't,
Yeah.
yeah, I ain't,
And
look, I
especially,
ain't even thinking about it. I ain't talking about it. I ain't even called nobody. Like, sometimes my sisters and them will think I probably called one of the other sisters, because that's what they do when they get into it with each other. They call another sister, they talk about it. Oddly, they call each other and be like, uh, you talk to Jada? Well, let me tell you what happened. And then it's like, I ain't told nobody, because it's not bothering me. I feel blessed in that essence. I know people be like, well, how do you feel? I feel in moments where I'm with my daughter. That's when I know I can love. That's when I know I am at my greatest. Being a mother, doing different, and this is like no shade to nobody else. I'm just saying, the moment that I had my child, I realized I could love. I realized it was capable. My daughter gets on my nerves, very minor, very minor. But I
So let me
realize
ask:
when I'm dealing with other
is
people's
real,
kids,
real,
I can
real,
love
real,
them
real,
too.
real question? Is she the only person that you love? For real, for real.
No, no. That's why I said when I'm with other children, I realize my capability to also love them too. When I'm dealing with homeless people, I care about those people. You get what I'm saying? And it's not just because they need something.
so question,
Told
Jada.
y'all about
I
the
got a
man that
question now
I
too.
allowed to. Okay,
I
I told y'all about the man that I was dating that I finally allowed to meet my daughter. And because he felt a connection with her, and they had for years a father and daughter relationship, even when we broke up, I allowed him to tell me his ideas, his thoughts. When he said, no, she shouldn't be doing this yet, I listened, because I loved him enough. I trusted him enough. I knew he would make good decisions, even if there were sometimes I didn't see the extra end of the coin.
so let me
So
ask you this.
I realized I could love. Okay, hold on one
Let,
second.
let
I realized I could
Let her
love.
finish.
It's
Okay.
just certain moments where when I feel like it's too toxic, some BS, some stuff that I realize I can't change, can't do nothing about. So I'm just gonna pull back and enjoy the rest of my day. I'm not gonna let you destroy my day because you on this tangent.
okay, so let me ask you
Do you
this.
all mind,
So
OG
bec-
Patrice? Do you guys mind if I just say something real quick so I can drop down?
sure.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, sis.
I just wanted to say this real
So, oh
quick.
hey, Trish.
I'm gonna try not to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go
No,
ahead.
no,
Go
no. I
ahead.
was saying, hey.
Okay. Hey, you guys. I just wanted to say real quick. I think that we. I was putting in a chat that I feel like a lot of us do have a lot of unconscious bias against Monique, even when she initially came out with her issues. And I think we really need to work hard to push back at that and check our unconscious bias, because if you look at just how the public has responded to other people whose children have came out and trashed them and said that they were not the greatest parents, especially when they
Mm-hmm.
have been men, fathers who
Yep.
kids. I mean, we just had a situation with Ti and Tiny, where their child had came on and said, you weren't there, my grandmother raised me, blah, 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 you
Yep.
didn't do anything for me.
King with
And
King.
the sympathy that they got, the support that they got when he was speaking out against them it's a stark contrast to the non-support that Monique has got. Like I've seen
Mm-hmm.
Monique dragged through the mud, and I think that there is a lot of bias that we have against people that look like Monique, that a lot of us are not, we're not even trying to be introspective and even admit that. And I think that plays a lot into how a lot of people feel about her. And they're not going to extend her grace because of that. And I'm sure Monique is aware of that and has had to deal with that. And secondly, I looked at those text messages that she sent, and people are saying it shows that she has a personality that her son says she has. I didn't see that. What I saw was her continuing to be the first one to initiate contact with him over and over and over again. In one instance where he didn't even respond to her until like a month later. That's what I saw. I saw her being the person to initiate um, contact. I saw when he did contact her, she responded to him, not days later, weeks later, like people are saying. I feel like there are a lot of false narratives that are being put out because people feel a certain way about Monique. I also think that for people to sit here and say that, well, she brought him up, is a little disingenuous. I can see
Mm-hmm.
if she was bringing him up, trashing him, talking about what a terrible son he is. If she is telling her story and admitting how she was a bad mom, that's her experience. It's not as if she is trashing him. To say she brought him up, that is misleading. And people are not being genuine. Like, you may not like her, right? But the facts are the facts. And just, putting these false narratives out there and speculating, I think is just wrong. I think that Monique will probably never get the grace that other people will get. But I do think it is up to us to try to consciously work against those biases that we have against Black women, that Black women have against Black women, the inner
Mm-hmm.
misogyny that a lot of Black women have. I think it's up to us to try to, work against that. And I just want to say one last thing. I often wonder sometimes when you do see a lot of these kids that get older and have issues with their parents, how a lot of the ones who tend to be doing a little bit better in life, they tend not to, I would say, act out publicly this way. Like, you have a lot of athletes whose parents wasn't there, but you don't see them trashing them every day in the public. And I did wonder if Shalom was doing a little bit better in life, because it seemed like he's struggling a little bit. I saw in the text messages he was telling them how he was having a hard time at work. I often wonder if he was doing a little bit better in life, would he be having this same sort of response to his mom? So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay,
Great
I have a
thank
point.
you
great
so
life, and
much
I
for
still
coming
have
up.
I still have the same thought.
Bree, hold
I
on.
wanted to.
Bree, thank
Can
you
I
so
ask
much
my
for coming
question?
up. Bree sent me a message just now, and she was like, Martha Stewart's daughter have a whole podcast dragging her.
Do she?
So, and also, I want to say thank you, AK, for your $10 donations. All donations are thoroughly appreciated. Thank y'all so much, whether they're Cash App, Super Chats, whatever's clever. I appreciate it so much. This has been a great conversation. We got about 20 more minutes, so
Okay,
go.
so before I forget my questions, I want to ask Jovi,
Go ahead, Patrice.
because I know you and Jovi say y'all kind of like in the aspect of it's easy for y'all to like let people go and cut them off or
I'm
whatever.
working on it. I got therapy every
Oh, okay.
Wednesday, okay?
Okay.
Child, I don't even
Because
want to work on.
listen, I used to be in therapy every week. Now I'm once a month, right? And I'm telling you, I've been going for years, and it's great because I had to be one of those people to learn to let go faster too. Like when
Yeah.
it's consistent abuse. So I wanted to ask you, Jada, since you said that it's easy for you to do that. Do you look at other people that it's not so easy to let go? how do you how do you look at them and say, how could you continue to let this person do this to you or take this abuse? Do you look at them in a negative way, or since you so easily to let
You know
go?
what? I don't. I don't look at it in a negative way just because my detachment issues happened so early in my life as a little kid. I mean, I tried to commit suicide when I was 4 years
Mm,
old. So my detachment from certain things was always way better than people that I grew up with. So I know and I understand it's human. Emotions, responses to stuff, it's all human. So I don't look down on people that, go through different things, but that don't stop me from asking them and bringing up things so that they can see what's happening in front of them. Sometimes things are going on and people don't fully even notice it, even though they're going through it. So the only
mm-hmm.
thing that I can do is say, hey, well, let me ask you a question. This, and this is going on. You don't think that might be bad for you? You don't think this might be bad for your kids to see, whether it's a man or a woman? You don't think
Right.
this might be bad for you? You don't think this might be tearing you down? I will always say, you think you might, maybe you should check out some therapy or something. Maybe you should see a counselor, wedding counselor.
Great
I mean, not
advice.
marriage, marriage counselor. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand I am a completely different person from majority of the people that I run into. So
Exactly.
because
And I
of
think
that,
for me, I
my
learned
my
too
empathy.
that I didn't know about trauma bonding until I got in therapy. So I think once we have a better understanding of certain terminologies when it comes to being in abusive relationships and things like that, and we learn about these terms and why we relate to trauma bonding. Trauma bonding come from your trauma bonding with somebody else's trauma, and then it becomes toxic trauma bonding. I think that
Yes,
now that we as a community are learning about these different type of personality disorders, mental illnesses and things like that, it is helping us understand better, and then getting the therapy help us to be able to slowly pull away, as opposed to a person like yourself that would just say, I'm out. Now it's somebody else that will take longer to get out of an abusive relationship, is can kind of understand somebody from your perspective.
yes. And when I see different people in situations, sometimes mentally, I don't always say it to them, but mentally, it bothers me because I know they could have so much better in life. I'm a testament to it. All of the different things that happened to me as a child and then growing into adulthood, still dealing with different things. I had my sister supported my abuser just like 2 years ago because it was out of sight, out of mind. They weren't even
Oh
thinking about,
my.
they don't deal with this person on any level, right? But for whatever reason, they had a house fire. And my sisters and them sent out a group text to all of us, to the brothers and them, and was like, we gonna send them a cash app. And I left the text. I couldn't believe it. I left the group text. It took one of my sisters to call and be like, I was trying to figure out why you left. And then I thought about, I forgot that they did that to you for 4 years of your life as a little kid. I am so sorry. Man, I had them punched a hole in the wall. That was the maddest that I had been since I was a kid. It's
And
like it
that's
just
just
tore
like,
me back open. And I had to, after I hit that wall, my daughter came down the stairs and I had to immediately check my emotion
it's
because
just
there's
like
no
we
way I
do
wanted
as
my
a
daughter to see that.
community. It's like we do that as a community, especially in our culture. Like, we will sit up and know that Uncle Robert was the heir in three generations of our family, but we'll sit up and let him come around, come to the barbecue. When he died, we say, oh, he was such a good person at the funeral. And we know he was a piece of trash. It's like we got to get out of that mental illness ourselves within our own communities. It's like we will sit and allow and acquiesce to the person that we know is abusing us or other family members, and we will let them come around, continue to rock with them, speak great of them when they die. And it's just sickening to me now that I understand how trauma works. It's sickening. Like,
It's so weird.
we gotta
It's so
get
weird.
better.
Listen, the fact that one of my
Hold
other
on. Thank
sisters
you.
one
Wait,
time,
one
oh,
second.
sorry.
One second. Thank you, Cece, for the donation. Thank you so much. It is greatly appreciated. Okay. Go ahead.
One year, we went down south for a family reunion, right? Mississippi. And they were like, You gonna bring your daughter in? Mind you, I told y'all my sisters and them are older than me. So my child is still a child. Their kids are now adults. They're like, well, we all trying to go out. Who you gonna leave Lana with? And I was like, I'll just stay home. I don't have to go out. And they're like, why don't you let such and such do it? You know, they got little kids now. Such and such was my abuser. Did y'all forget? Where is y'all mind at? The thought that y'all thought that it made sense to let it roll off your tongue. But what the sister told me is because it took me so long to say something, they forget that it happened. I didn't say anything until I became grown because they were allowing certain people to be babysat by this person. And I was thinking, like, was I the only child that this happened to? I need to be saying something. They don't need to be watching nobody kids. Family was mad at me for that for like almost a year and a half. I wasn't getting
That's
phone calls like that,
crazy.
used to. And I
Yeah,
did
that's
not
crazy.
care. And they were just like, but you know what? She said, it took you so long to say something. It's not in my memory. So when I'm doing stuff, just forgive me for it because I don't process the thought that it happened. Let me tell y'all something. If anybody had told me that somebody had done something to them, that is going to be in my memory because I have a child to protect as well. That doesn't slip my memory. So it's weird, but again, some people, we come up in that era, like OG said, things get passed up under the rug, under the table, everything. And they just continue on like nothing is going wrong. They still get invited to the events. But what's funny is that even though these things happen, when I'm at the family reunion, that person does not bother me. And I mean, like, I have no thoughts. The only one time I've had a thought in all them years is when my sister said, well, why don't you let whatchamacallit babysit them while we go? That is the only time. Otherwise, I would see them, not speak, not, you know what I'm saying? None of that. Because they were cut off and it did not bother me. I did not have old thoughts or nothing. And that's why I be like, it's a blessing to me, even though I know people feel like, you know, it's different. But it's a blessing to me to know that I can be around people who have hurt me and cut them off. You say what?
No,
What?
it was reverb. It was
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Go
So,
ahead.
allow me to say this part here before I forget these things. I forgot who mentioned it, but they were saying was Monique's son with the mother of his child, et cetera, et cetera. They are together. They're raising their child together in their home. That right there is a true fact. And that to me, that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter to me. This is not the first time that she has mentioned her son. Did she dog her son out when she mentioned them? No. No, she did not in them times. Though the son still has a right to talk and tell his truth whenever he feels like it, if you ask me. I didn't see that he had dragged her and dogged her out. I didn't see that part. What I heard him say in his first message was him expressing these different things. I could think of some of the things that could have been said that he didn't say, only because I know there's some things I would have loved to have said about my father in front of people. I just don't. So, you know, I feel like maybe it wasn't as much as what I would have did if it was a cuss out. Is there a correlation between Monique not letting things go and wanting more than what was given? To me, yes. Her not understanding that she is on the other end of a stick that is almost the same when it comes to her son, where apologies is not a fixant, money is not a fixant, actions are. That's what my mind is thinking about. I'm not thinking about nothing else. It's not about me having a problem or a dimensional issue with her being a woman, black woman, mother raising a kid, mother being young, mother walking away. It's how she's handling the thought of not recognizing what's going on, especially when she's asking for these same type of things from somebody else. You get what I'm saying? It's not the same because, yeah, they business people. You're right. But
Yes,
this is her
I
blood.
don't even think that's a I understand what you're saying about the
Yeah, no,
son or
what I'm
whatever.
saying is
I
it's the
don't really
blood.
agree.
So how
I'll be
you gonna
honest,
see that?
but I don't see that has anything to do with Tyler Perry and them.
No, I'm
I
only
agree.
saying
That don't have
whereas
it's two different
no,
two apples
listen,
and oranges.
it's to me it's not apples to oranges when she says that the private apology was not enough.
She
The
apologized. How
money,
many times she was? But
you say
okay,
who? No, no,
never
no.
mind.
But that's the thing though, Jovi, you said that. She apologized. How many times she got to apologize? Well, Tyler Perry was on that phone call apologizing. It was not enough for her, right? That's what I'm
Okay.
talking about. He offered
Tyler
money. He
Perry
said,
But
ain't
"I
never
Jada,
will
it
give you."
apologized.
shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been. That man cost her millions of dollars.
You said it should have
He
been
it should
because it
not
cost her
have been
millions of
enough.
dollars.
He cost her, him and
But
Oprah cost her
OG,
tens of millions of
listen
dollars.
to what you said. I understand that. It cost that young man his emotions for his life, even if it's still
Okay,
going on right now. You get what I'm saying? He
I
offered
understand
her
what you're
money.
saying.
She
Hold on, I
offered
understand what
him
you're
money to fix
saying.
certain issues. It's
I
not
understand.
enough.
I understand what you said. I comprehend what you're saying. And I'm, I feel like it is. He ain't come out and say this or none of this. And I said this in my video a year or two ago. I understand the trauma. I understand the trauma, but I still feel like it's. I personally feel like what is recently occurring is him attempting to sabotage her life. You know what? I was thinking about this earlier today. Y'all know I love Dr. Nozardin. I watched 600 pounds, my 600-pound life. Y'all ever really paid attention to some of the people on my 600-pound life? A lot of them have trauma since they were young, right? A lot of them have trauma, whatever the trauma is. We ain't gonna get into it. The daddy might have did something, mama might have not been there, whatever the trauma is. And I feel like at least 3 out of 4 of them, when they are dealing with their parent taking care of them now, it is in a place where they are trying to force their parent to parent them now because they weren't parenting them when they were young, and trying to like just punish them forever with the obligation of them.
I can
I
get
don't
where you're
know.
coming from that. I can get where you're coming from that. I just feel like for a person who talks about accountability and family and all this stuff, she should be able to stand with her feet in the dirt, take it, and try to make things work. If that is truly what she wants to do, giving text messages doesn't seem like that to me.
But
Well, like
Jada,
I said,
Sometimes
and like
but
the
Jada,
other
she
person
did.
say, hold
I
on, hold on. And like the
so wait,
other
listen,
person
I
said, I
gave
don't
y'all
know
the
who it
instant.
was.
Oh, I'm
Wait
sorry.
up, Jada. And the other person said, I don't know who it was. When I was reading them text messages, I don't see it the way y'all seeing it.
Me
I
either.
swear to you, I did not see it the way y'all seeing it. I saw a lot of her reaching
I
out
saw
and a lot of
effort.
him not
Yep,
responding. That's how I saw it
exactly.
So
again. And
I
it is,
gave I
hold up,
gave
wait a
y'all
minute. And it is but I also comprehend it is perception based off of how the reader
yes.
experiences shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's
True.
I
that's
did
exactly
not
what I
see
was
it
about to
like
say.
that.
The reason why is because, like I told y'all with my father, he would make it seem like he's trying to reach out. He's trying to do things. And when I try to do things with him, prime example, I said, Dad, what you doing for Easter? Because I knew my uncle had passed away. Him and my uncle usually would go to church together. You know what I'm saying? So, Dad, what you doing for Easter? Would you like me and your grandbaby to take you out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? That man said, now this is after, I forgot to say this part. This is after he told somebody that I have not wanted to go out to eat with him, which the truth is he has never asked. But I said, I tell you what, I'm an offer. I'm going to take him out to eat. My dad said, oh no, I don't feel well, such and such and such and such. Where's my other uncle?
Jada,
My other uncle just happened to
have you
post some
ever thought
pictures.
about
And
have
I'm
you ever
like,
thought about do you think your dad may be a narcissist?
is he a narcissist? I
Do
don't
you
know him
think
well
he
enough
is?
to say so. I don't know y'all, I don't
No,
really
just
talk
based
to
off
him.
of the behavior over the years. His behavior
No,
over the years.
I don't think he was a
Okay.
narcissist. I just think he was a bad person,
You
truthfully.
just
I
Well,
just think he was a
narcissists
bad
are
person.
bad people. Narcissists are bad
Well, no,
people.
but I'm just saying I don't think he was narcissistic because of what I see and hear from the other family that he dealt with.
Do you think he just don't care? And you want him
Yes,
to care?
and that's why I'm so no.
And you
I
trying
don't
to
care
make
if he
him
care.
care,
No wait,
and he
uh,
don't and
I
he
don't.
don't want to, because like you said, he's good
No.
with his nieces and his nephews and all of these
Yes.
people, but like he just, for whatever reason, we wasn't there back when you was back, we don't know, but for whatever fucking reason, he just don't care.
He just
And
don't
I'm
want to. And
mad,
here's
and
the
I'm
thing.
I'm I'm hurt for you that you trying, and he
It
don't care.
Grace trying to be nice, just trying to be nice because he's my father. I'm trying to tell y'all, if it was nothing else, those years when I said I didn't talk to my dad for years, he didn't reach out
Mm-hmm.
to me, so I felt no obligation to reach out to him. He was out of sight, out of mind until he comes back again. You get what I'm saying? So what I see through text message is what my dad tried to do when his wife first passed away. Random little messages, but if I call, because I tell him I'm not into text, I'll call you. I call and try to talk to him, he don't answer.
Mm-hmm.
He'll text later and be like, "Oh, this, that, and the third. You are an elderly man. You ain't got that much going on in your life from what you tell me." So I don't understand how, if you text me to say something, my dad was on my YouTube watching. That's how I knew he was attracted to Couture Bay. Anyway, he watched and then he will text me, tell me the show was good, right? The show was good, such and such and such and such. If I call him, he don't answer. Oh, I'll call you tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll call you later. Later never comes until there's something else to say. He goes and he looks on my
That's why I'm
Facebook and
saying,
stuff.
Jada.
He will
That's why I'm
comment on a
saying you
he will comment to me
you
on a
should
picture.
research. You should research because that behavior to me is very narcissistic. Because narcissists tend to treat other people better than they do their own family members and close people that's close to them. And that's all I'm saying. Just
Oh,
maybe
okay.
look into it and research it because that like and then the whole thing with the text for you, that's a lot of gaslighting. So I'm just only making a suggestion that that's a possibility. And then you say watch his page and he likes somebody on your page, but he won't respond to you. That's like a
Won't
lot of
respond to me.
tendency.
Sitting up there, he'll make comment. He sends messages for the holiday. If I send it back and ask him how he doing, he don't respond. I call and say, I called him one day and I called twice, 2 days in a row because my mother said, "Had you talked to your father?" I was like, "I ain't talked to him in about 2, 3 months." I was like, "Wow, what's going on?" "You should call him. He been real sick." I told y'all he talked to my mother. He don't talk to me. I called to check on him because my mother was out of town. I called him again the next day. He didn't answer. I told my daughter we might have to go drop by over there to make sure he is okay. I texted and I said, "Dad, I'm telling you now, you may not think much about me, but I will come over there and check and make sure you okay. So if you're okay, let me know because I know you don't want me at your house. Let me know before I come over there and waste my gas."
And
That
Jada,
is probably the hardest.
you also said you found out he had a whole nother family. I am telling you,
Yeah, a
that's
whole
very
yeah.
narcissistic. Like, look into it
I
because
don't care
I'm promising you.
what the condition is. He's messed up.
Yeah,
He's
and
a
that's
mess.
why I said
I
I
don't care
don't
what
think
the
he's
condition
a
is at
bad
this point.
person.
This is some
Okay.
horrible. Yes, okay, I don't want to say because that's your dad, but like kinda,
Yeah, he is to me he is
kinda.
a bad
And
person.
and
I know
I and
my
I
cousins
feel
and
and
them
I
love him and
feel
stuff.
and I
I
feel
don't
for
try to
you
denigrate him
when
in front of
people
them and
are
stuff.
trying to force you to be there for somebody who is actively
Yes,
not trying to be there for you.
at all. Because me and my mother, I be having to tell my mother sometimes, and I hate to say the word, but I be like, "Mama, stop talking to me. Just shut up." Because you trying to tell me about my father and what I need to do, and that man don't really want me doing nothing but helping him pay some bills every now and then. He does not actually
Bingo!
care.
You just said he won't come around or want something or call or answer the phone when he
Want
wants you to do something.
something.
Girl, that is narcissistic all day long. I'm just saying. I'm just
When I was
saying, just do
just
the
telling
research,
y'all about
girl.
him being ill and him not answering me for 2 days, I'm only gonna call you once. I don't do that call. I called one day, he didn't answer. I called the next day. I say, hey, just try to check on you. Want to make sure you ain't laying out on the floor somewhere with chips on your chest. You know what I'm saying? Passed out or something. And when I told him, because I got a little harsh, and I told him, let me know before I come over there and burn my gas. Because when I come over, I'm bringing 911 them with me. And that was the truth. I'm bringing them with me because if you ain't answering, then you might be done clocked over. That's the truth. So he finally responded right back and said, yeah, I seen your messages. I seen your calls. I meant to get back to you.
Girl, I'm
Wait,
just saying.
y'all, let Reese speak. Hey, Reese. Reese has been
How
patient,
y'all
y'all.
Hey,
doing?
How
Reese.
are you, child?
Reese.
I'm good.
Hi.
How y'all?
I'm stressed out. Go ahead, Reese.
Yeah, that
This
was
is
a
a
lot right
doozy. This
there.
is a doozy.
Yeah, what I wanted to say, mainly, when people have kids when they young, they don't got it together. They still trying to get it together. So her son, he should have kept his mouth shut. If he had something to say, he should have called her on the phone. And I think that she should stop responding to him online. Give it no
I
energy.
agree.
Because if
Mm-hmm.
he's
I
serious,
agree with that
he
too.
would be like, "Mom, let's go to therapy." You know what I'm saying? And she admitted, "Hey, I was chasing the bag. I was trying to make it." I don't believe that people should abandon their dreams and who they are just because you got some kids. That's not fair. And she admitted that's what happened. Now, don't nobody really say much to men when they out trying to get the bag because they like, well, you a man, that's what you supposed to be doing. But when you a single mother, you got to do everything if that father ain't helping. So why is everybody so down on Monique for doing what she had to do and following her dreams and taking care of his tail at the same time? He's ungrateful and disrespectful. And I think the people that's giving Monique hate just don't like Monique. They don't care. They don't have no empathy or anything. They just don't like Monique. So they on the hate train with her.
Selective
Yeah.
outrage.
Yeah. Now, my parents was young when they had me and my brother. And they had to work. My brother's 6 years older than me. So my parents worked second shift, both of them. By him being 6 years older than me, he could stay home. I still had to go to babysitter. So I felt by myself, kind of abandoned to a certain degree. But at the same time, my mom sat me down and she talked to me and said, I got to take care of us. I don't want to be on welfare. And I understood that as a child. I ain't like it, but I understood. So I think that it's not fair for just because you had kids when you young, you supposed to abandon who you are. I told my mom when I was 18, didn't you want to do something before you had kids? Didn't you have some dreams? Because I was adamant about your responsibility for your happiness is yours.
Yeah.
And I pushed her. Do something for yourself. Family members coming around because they need something, but when you need something, where they at? I was hitting the ceiling. But I didn't want to get in trouble for being disrespectful to them, so I would tell her how I felt. But I couldn't tell them. So I would be upset. You the one that everybody run to, but you the same one everybody jealous of at the same time. But you want them to love you. It's okay
Mhm.
that you love them, but you got to look at, are they loving you? Stop putting yourself out all the time when you're not getting that reciprocated. Ain't nothing wrong with taking care of yourself and putting up a guard. You're supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to let somebody just run over you. You responsible for your happiness. And if somebody being toxic in your life, they got to go. Period. Because they're not gonna help you. So I just I just think it's kind of sad that people are coming at Monique like that. And if this girl stop giving him energy, he gonna have nothing else to say. I really want her to stop responding to him.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right,
Bye-bye.
y'all, we're gonna wrap this up.
Cool beans.
Y'all
Yeah,
got any
this
last
was.
minute comments?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I know it was heavy for you, Jovi, because it triggers us all, right? Like it triggers the child in us, our traumas, our different things of that nature. Looking at how everybody is judging her, we kind of got to look in the mirror as well, and then as a collective, you know what I mean? As a culture in our community, right? We got to all take that self-reflection. I just want to say that I respect everybody's opinion, even the ones where we agree to disagree. But I just wanted to give a different perspective as someone from that older generation that see the difference in how where we are now in the parenting skills and the lack thereof as opposed to how we were back then. And we got to leave people room to grow, to change, to evolve. And I just hope at the end of the day, Monique and her son can eventually work it out and work it out. I agree, off of social media. I pray that they can mend their mother son relationship. And if not, let the chips fall where they may and they go their separate ways. And I wish them all the best in that as well. Because sometimes, especially when I worked in a nursing home, I used to wonder why all the time I would see so many older parents dying alone and nobody coming to see them and visit them. But I understood that some of them had burned so many bridges and abused their children, right? And then I saw it the opposite way too. So we cannot always say that these people that are our parents or our children should be allowed to stay in our lives if they're abusing us in any kind of way. We got to learn that we got to heal our responsibility, and the onus is on us to heal for ourselves, regardless of what our parents or siblings or anybody else has done to us. It's no longer the onus on them when we are adults. Thank you, Jovi. I appreciate you letting me come up.
I appreciate you coming on, sis.
All
Thank you.
right.
See you,
All right.
OG Patrice.
Later, Jada. Good
You
talking
know
to
I'm
you,
getting
girl.
on my nerves, Jada.
Same
Let's
here. You say what, Jovi?
you hear him whining, getting on my damn nerves.
Oh, no. Okay, so here's my final thoughts, right? Everyone goes through something,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone who goes through a specific something does not always respond the same.
Yeah.
If you are able to compute giving someone else grace for something, that is not of your own, I would think that there should be an extra moment to give another person grace. And I'll give you the instance and then end it.
Mm-hmm.
When Cat Williams came out with his different issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
They called him a G. Or excuse me, let me start over. When Monique came out with her issues, they called her bitter. When Cat came out with his discretions, he was a G. Monique came out with her issues again. Monique is both bitter and a G. The
Mm-hmm.
son comes out with his truth, and we're trying to figure out all of these other different aspects about him that has not even been shown. At least with Kat and Monique, we can go off of some stuff because we've watched them over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes when it comes to things like these, instead of us rallying for an agenda, we should just start to see things at that face value that we are shown. And then
Mm-hmm.
maybe we wouldn't be so upset with if this is about her being a Black woman, big woman, loud woman, woman standing up for herself, woman with a man that's standing behind her, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
Teenage pregnancy, SA survivor, all of that different stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think if we just see it in that way, we could kind of understand where both sides are coming from. So that's it. That's
I
it. Make sure
appreciate
you
you
like
so
this
much for
video,
coming up,
share if
Jada.
you care, subscribe if you like the vibe. Shout out to all of the super chats and any monetary hand claps that have been given. If you have yet to give and so and you would like to, or if you just want to drop another hot one on her, feel free to super chat. If you're watching the replay, super love. Hit her cash app at $ Joey Beauty. That is JOVIBEAUTY on Cash App, and then of course on all platforms. Everybody have an awesome weekend. Great show as usual, huh?
Thank you for coming up, Jada. Appreciate
No
you, girl.
problem. Bye.
All right, guys. I'm woe out. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I knew this was gonna be a lot. I knew this was gonna be a lot. I knew this was gonna be a lot. I still was not prepared for everything that it was because this was very intense. I appreciate you all for coming up. I guess we didn't get to there is no answer. There is no answer. You know, like I saw someone said, even the comments are kind of split down 50-50. People see things, in my opinion, people are seeing things just in life in general in this situation from their experiences, right? And again, I recognize I appreciate, and I have empathy for the humanity in not. I'm not even talking about Monique at this point and her son and all of this stuff. Just everybody who is in the chat, everybody who came up and gave us their experiences, and was strong enough to share, because everyone can't share those things. It's hard. So I appreciate you all for coming up. I need to go get me. I don't even know what I'm about to say right now. Okay, I love you all for coming. I don't have an ending. I don't have. My mind is going with everything that everybody said tonight. You're still going through my head. I'm about to get me something to eat and really attempt to digest everything that we heard. I hope you do the same as well. I appreciate everybody who came up. Like I said previously, were able to give us their honest opinions. Please don't forget to like this video. She said part 2. Girl, you gotta think about it, because I'm stressed out. I think about it. It was a great chat. So yeah, let me decompose tonight. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I appreciate you all for coming. Everybody who donated to the channel, I greatly appreciate you. If you are part of the replay gang, please support your girl. You can spend super chats, cash apps, PayPals, whatever. I appreciate you all for coming. And I'm gonna get out of here because I ain't got nothing to say. I think it was all said. I love you all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. They won't even let me leave. Hold on.